Good morning.
Yellow.
Welcome to the Backyard Hang.
This is
Alex doesn't want to just.
Huh?
We what do we? You know what we're doing? We're jumping right into it. If you're a Patreon, you already know this. We got a special guest.
We have got a special guest.
First, I would say this first ever friend of the show, Ryan Singer.
You were
Right here on this podcast.
Yeah, welcome to the show. First and foremost.
Wait, so you've had guests on before that aren't friends of the show?
Well, we've had guests on.
I'm not trying to throw other guests under this bus,
I think
but
we've been calling you a friend of the show before you did the show.
no, I love
You
that.
might have been. So I called.
I think my butt's wet right
This
now.
is just
by
a
the
little.
way.
Wait,
this
through
is
the you need
through the
plastic.
sheet.
You need
No,
plastic.
You're dry as a bone.
Oh, you're
All
dry
right.
as
That's
a
one of the
you're
best
dry
butts
as
I've
a-
seen in weeks.
Yeah.
The way this canon on this show is, I once
There's a
referred to
message.
someone as the friend of the pod, but we had no one on
That
the
seems
pod.
bad. Not to interrupt. There's an alert in the thing we're recording into. We just lost an episode a week ago.
Lost internet connection.
All right. Seems bad.
Attempting to reconnect. I think we're good.
Well,
right
the thing
now.
about the software you're using, I don't want to name drop, is that internet connection is
success.
not necessary
Do
because
you know the software?
I know the software. I don't use it. I have used it in the past because if you have a remote guest, the audio records directly to their computer and directly to your computer. And so if you
Right.
lose Wi-Fi,
Yeah.
you still get their full. They won't chop.
Yeah.
To do a Tommy Davidson.
You know
My
what's-
microphone.
Oh, Tommy Davidson. Nice pull.
You know what's fucking crazy? This is exactly why I had you on this podcast. I wanted you to just walk us through this. I didn't know it would come up so organically. So
Well,
quick.
tell me more about me
Alex
being a
looks like
friend
a
of the
little
show.
boy in this chair.
Well,
if you're not a member of the Patreon, I would say I would pay. Our Patreon is fairly inexpensive. And we got 3 tiers. I'd
Sure.
pay whatever to see Alex in this chair.
Well, here's what I'll say: is I don't know if it's that I'm slouched down in the chair or if the arms in it are unreasonably high. But
Let me-
there's something's off in it.
You know what this chair reminds me of? Club Shay Shay couches. The
Oh,
Shannon
really?
Sharp. The arms seem elongated.
Something's
Right?
this
up,
seems like
dude.
the chair that your mom makes you take a picture in when you leave a restaurant, like a funny chair on
And
the
I'm
way out
kind
of
of
Golden
like I'm
Corral
trying
or
to help
something.
be on your side a little bit.
Yeah.
Like these chairs were built for what if people had really long asses and short backs?
No,
Right?
A little bit. It also kind of feels like maybe these were like custom made by this guy to just emasculate people who has come over to his house. Just reminding you who's in charge around here.
I do hate these chairs. We got all new furniture in the back.
Where is it?
It's under the
Well,
covers
you're
over there.
sitting on some of it.
My significant
right.
other, I didn't even see a picture of it. You could have shown me a picture of this stuff. I'm gonna look back over my shoulder, make sure that window is closed in the house. I could have told you from a photo that this ain't it, and it ain't it. This is the worst, but still expensive outdoor furniture I've ever been a part of.
Well, I was on the fence till I sat in this chair, and I'll tell you what, it ain't it.
It
You're right.
ain't it.
It ain't it.
Oh, so this is a hot take, new stuff, fresh
This is
seats.
I mean, it's pretty fresh. I think we could still call it fresh. It's
Okay.
new.
It's been out here a month or
being
two.
broken in.
So like I'm like the best friend of the show. What we
Well,
talking
so
about?
I was
Like, what
saying,
saying?
I once called someone
Back to that.
friend of the pod and got a lot of pushback from Johnny Pushback over here, saying we've had
Tommy
no one
Pushback.
on the show, saying they can't be a friend of the pod. And I went, a friend of the pod is a friend of ours, and I think I might have been talking about you in that moment. You might have been the first
It was
friend
like
of
the
the pod.
Genesis moment, right?
Uh-huh.
So
He
like,
uses mob rules.
Yeah,
it's,
yeah.
It's a friend of the show or a friend of the show.
but now I'm a made.
Now you're a
guest.
friend of the pod. which
Now I'm a
means
made
you're-
friend.
Ever since you helped us bury that body, you are made.
I
Yes,
love
yeah.
to shovel things.
You're
People
a-
know that about friends of mine know that.
Then that's
I'm
why
very
I brought
good
you
with a
up.
shovel.
I said I got this shovel guy
Pods
back
know
in
that.
Dayton, Ohio. He's a good guy.
There's something about those like slightly bent metal curvature parts where you get to like just stomp down on that I really like.
Let's talk about that
in
real
with
quick.
Like on a shovel,
Is there
right?
a more satisfying feeling than when you kick a shovel into the ground and it like goes in as far as it's supposed to?
Wow, kick is an interest. That's not the verb I would have
Would
used,
you
but it's probably
stomp?
accurate.
What'd you say?
I said stomp, but kick is probably
I
right.
kick it. I go, can I kick it? And the shovel goes, yes, you can. I kick the shovel
that's
into
nice.
the ground.
You got
What
extra.
do you say? What are you doing? You kicking? You stomping? Or you?
I mean, if
pushing?
we're, just because we're in this genre, I'm gonna say I think more satisfying is when that hammer hits the nail just right,
Oh, dead on.
and you go 1 or 2 bangers.
So we call that a whack.
That's a whack.
That's a whack.
Well, yeah, I mean, well,
I call
that's
that a
what
pound.
that's what made guests
I'd
friends of
pound
the show
that
say.
nail.
Oh, you pound the nail?
No.
I say hammer.
You know
Hammer
what?
the nail.
I say,
You know, it was sitting right there the whole time.
I think you nailed it.
Man, I think it took us 4 words to
Yeah.
get there.
We'll figure it out. We'll find
Yeah,
our
it's all
groove.
right.
but I made, and I'm not trying to talk about jokes that I made that nobody got because they were too good. But like I've always been fascinated by words that are a noun and then also a verb. But then you have like Hollywood
milk.
names like milk. Yeah, you drink some milk and you can milk the milk. You can milk the milk, right? But I'm talking about
Cheese.
I'm talking about Rip
I don't know what we're
Torn.
doing.
Like Rip Torn is the past and
Oh
or
yeah.
is the action and the result in the same name.
Mhm.
You rip something, now it's torn. So Rip Torn,
Yeah.
one of the best names,
One of the best names.
right? And so, and now I forget what I was talking about.
Ryan used to be
joke that
Ryan used to be
you-
a teacher.
Well, the
I
word
thought it was
fulfill. If you think about the word
Wait,
word
you said-
fulfill.
Are you calling Rip Torn the person? That's his name, right?
Yeah, well, his birth name was not Rip, but his last name is actually Torn.
Yeah.
I looked this up the other day.
Rippered.
It's Rippert actually.
Oh, is it really?
Rippert Murdoch. Murdoch.
Ripper Murdoch.
But
is
yeah,
Rip
so it's like the word
Well, we were
fulfill.
Talking about milking cows.
Uh-huh. Yeah, what was
Right.
this joke that was too good?
Well, it turns out the joke probably wasn't even funny. Now that I'm saying it out loud,
Did
but
we
it's-
miss it?
to me, I said it seems obvious that someone named Rip Torn would fulfill their dream.
Yeah, I missed it.
Because fulfill is the same thing that Rip Torn is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Are
did.
you writing for Mike Kaplan?
I did drop out of high school. I feel like that joke has a high school diploma entry level to it. You can't get into that joke with a GED, is what we just learned.
Yeah,
here
that's
live
not
on the pod.
that's not a fifth grade reading level
Are you guys
newspaper.
bud with comedian Mike Kaplan? Speaking of Mike Kaplan,
I
know Mike a
Mike and
little
I
bit.
are pretty close.
I regularly walk around with guilt of I need to text that guy back. He's will still text me, and I'm a bad texter, and we don't text regularly. So Alex will text me on let's say a Monday, and asking some kind of pressing question,
I'm still waiting for an answer.
and then he'll just text me on like Thursday about he's just moved on.
Mhm.
Like, well, I know I'm gonna hear from him again. Mike Kaplan will hit me up in January. I'll forget to respond, and then all of a sudden it's March, and he hits me up again. So like when Alex hits me on Thursday, I go, oh shit, I didn't text him back on Monday. I should respond. So Mike Kaplan just spreads his out enough that I forget every time.
Yeah, you got to be quicker.
So okay, this is good to know though that
Yeah.
it's not just a me thing when him texting.
No, it's across the board, across
Yeah.
the universe. Yeah. It's that Beatles song. It's everybody.
I didn't realize how bad it was
Yeah, it's bad.
until someone was telling my wife, the mother of my children.
Uh-huh.
We were just in the kitchen. I was getting some shit about not responding to texts, and she just goes, "He doesn't respond to my texts. I barely even text him."
Uh-huh.
So it's not even. It's like inside. It's coming from inside the house.
Yeah. No one is safe.
The not call
Yeah,
is
it's
coming from inside the house.
He's
Well,
in the
it's-
house. He's not calling.
Well, there
Oh.
is a thing about I'm not at the world's beck and call. I don't need to be totally accessible at any moment for people. I get that part of it, right? But then there's the other side of the spectrum of it, of
Mhm.
like you just don't respond at all.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I'm kind of like that. But I'll say my biggest and maybe only flaw is I don't respond to the ones that I want to respond to, if that makes any sense. Like if someone I'm not super close with, I'm also bad at texting them, let's not lie. But if someone says like, hey, how about them Niners? I'll just go Niners.
Mhm.
But if Ryan texts me, I want to respond to that, ask what's up, ask what he's doing. Then I go like, oh shit, I'm at work. I can't do that right now. And then I forget.
Things have happened. People
that
have
happens to me all
moved
the time. If I receive a text while I'm driving,
I pull over.
I
That's how good of a guy I am. I'm late to
you
everything.
you
Alex will put out flares.
Yeah,
That is really
Mhm.
kind of you.
I'll drive to your house with my phone down. I don't care where you are.
And you'll go buy cardboard
Yeah,
and markers
Mhm.
and just
Stand outside the
stand
window.
outside the window, and
Absolutely.
you'll old school text me
Uh-huh.
with poster board.
Yep.
But I will forget if someone texts me while I'm driving and it pops up and I see it. I'll forget for days
Yeah, I'm pretty bad at
because
it.
I'll get buried because I'm so popular that I get so many text
course.
messages
Yeah.
that'll be buried pages deep.
Yeah.
Most of them are from my mom in different threads that she started with
Oh,
me
you
and my
can't.
brother, or me and my sister, or
You know
me
what?
and my brother and my sister.
I got a text from my mom the other day. And it was a thing. It doesn't. I don't know that it matters to the story, but I get a text from my mom.
Mm-hmm.
Sent me a picture of something. She had some. I don't know if it's AI or something, but she's just got this ability now to take pictures of just me and put me in family photos and the kids. So she sends me the first one. It's like my daughters with all the cousins and the grandparents. They've never all been together just because we haven't made it back in a while, and one of the kids wasn't born yet. So my mom puts everybody in a picture, and she's like, "You like that?" I'm like, "I think it's great." Then she does another one. She's like, "Oh, here's all of the meets me and my sisters and her." And then now I'm getting them daily. And she's like, "I had them do this. I think it may be AI,
Mm-hmm.
but she's just creating these family photos." She texts me one of them. I look at it. The text comes from an email address that is a variation of my name. That is not my email. So I go, hey, that's a fun picture there, but what are you doing over here?
Yeah.
Why are you texting me from my name at Yahoo? And she's like so confused with technology or playing dumb, and I'm a Republican in Illinois with a voter ID.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
Is she creating like a AI version of you?
Maybe with the pictures and now the
Uh-huh.
email. Yeah.
Maybe she just wants someone to text her back. She's just building a new.
She's responding to him.
Yeah.
She texts that guy and responds. I did.
Got a whole combo.
I text my daughter that I had to miss a gymnastics meet. First gymnastics meet I've missed in her career,
Mm-hmm.
her storied career.
Yep.
And I'm feeling real bad about
Over under how many total
Stories?
meets?
Storied careers. A lot. I mean, she's been doing it since she was 3.
So 150.
She's 11. Let's say, I mean, maybe less than 100, but I don't know, a lot.
Okay, I was just curious, but that I was going to say it's probably a pretty big number.
But I miss.
Mucho.
I'm also, I think, fortunate and grateful that I have up to this point lived in a situation because I stopped touring. The goal was I want to be on the road so I can do these things with my kids. I've made all the meets and the baseball games and the tennis matches. I'm batting 1,000. So then I missed this meet, and I'm texting her, yada yada. I text one. I was, she got 3 medals. Just had this great meet. She would have gotten first on beam. She fell, which is a half a point deduction. Still got third, which is wild.
I thought you were going to tell me she fell because she was looking for me and
looking
didn't see me. And you lost balance.
What? That may be it. I just why did they leave the seat empty? Someone else can sit there. This is not for me. But I text her the whole like I'm proud and proud. They didn't just give those to you. You earned them.
Mm-hmm.
You worked so hard. You deserve this. And I got like 3 texts, and hers says red.
Yep.
I know they've been read.
She left you on red?
So I'm sitting there pacing at tape. We're shooting an episode. I'm just like looking to see if the dots pop up.
Mm-hmm.
And I have this moment where I'm like, man, she won't even text. It's like, I'm dad. Like, she's only 11. Is this how it's going to be?
Yeah.
And then it just hit me that I have like 6 texts from my mom that I haven't responded to.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, yeah, it's probably, this is what happens.
How long till you got to, that's my girl?
Don't let me tell you when you got to respond.
Well, if it ever gets to a point where she said, you should have been there, you just have your mom Photoshop you into a photo of the meet.
Did I tell you this? You saying your mom's got a bunch of message threads.
I got Instagram. I've got Facebook.
Yeah.
I've got used to have Twitter before she got not removed from Twitter, but basically removed because my niece, her granddaughter, found her account. That was, I don't even think I should say, but it would, let's just say it was all dedicated to letting Nancy Pelosi know what she thought of her every tweet. And
I didn't know your mom was such a big fan of Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah, she's a
huge fan of
and made it
Nancy
known.
old
Pelosi.
NP.
That's
Yeah.
great.
But yeah, so it's just I've got like 6 different platforms where I'm
Yeah.
trying to manage my ignore level.
My mom this Christmas, Moore and I, we stayed out here in California. My sister and her husband, they stayed out here in California. Everyone was everyone was nowhere together, and so my mom fires up a text thread. She goes, "Hey, any chance we can do a Christmas Zoom?" So we're all responding about when we can get on this Christmas Zoom, and I'm driving. Maura's looking at who's on the thing, and she goes, "Who's this number I don't have saved?" And I go, "Oh, and it's probably Brian, the brother-in-law." She goes, "No, I got Brian." I go, "Oh, maybe it's so-and-so." She goes, "I got so-and-so." And I'm like, "I have no idea." So she sidebars my mom, and my mom goes, "Oh, that's Alan." And so Maura reads that out. She goes, "That's Alan." I got an Uncle Alan. So I go, "It's probably Uncle Alan." But the area code is 513. That's Cincinnati. My Uncle Alan never lived in Cincinnati. I go, that doesn't ring a bell. So then the next text that comes in, that's Alan. He's a pastor at a church we used to help with their food bank.
All right.
And so he's just a pastor from a church that used to help with the food bank. He's on the thread about when can we all do a Christmas
Why is he on
family. She just did it by mistake and then proceeds to not take Alan off the Zoom. And so we're all working on time. This goes on for days because we can't do it on Christmas.
Is he responding?
He jumps in at one point. Then we get on the Zoom, and we're trying to get my brother's not on the Zoom, and my brother's maybe seeing somebody new, and they send a text like, "Hey, get on. We're just making up stories about this guy you might be seeing." And I go, "Alan, feel free to jump in with any theories you got." And Alan starts jumping in with some theories. It's one of those things you would see on like Reddit or Instagram of like, I got added to a thing. Like,
yeah,
the only thing missing was him showing up into the Zoom or into the family, but just a new family member over the holidays. Pretty wild.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna I thought people were bring super religious people bring in pastors to bless their Zoom before they have them. Before meals.
He didn't even do that. I would love for him to get in there, bless the Zoom.
Just bless the Zoom.
Then I would have felt he was in there for a reason, but just not this.
I love the way that you told that story.
I appreciate that.
You got at that one point you went into the old I tell Maura, I say maybe that's Brian. She goes, "I got Brian." It reminded me just of the way that my dad and uncles would tell stories, or those Jerry Clower jokes. You kind of you hit what's a sound
cadence
that causes a memory or a tone. There was something in the
sense
way
memory?
a sense memory.
Sense memory. Well, I'm glad
sense memory.
Glad I could give that to you.
Was it the cadence that hit the sense memory?
The cadence.
Okay.
A little southern
rhythm?
cadence. He's in no hurry.
Southern. I'll take my time. I like to take molasses over here.
Yeah, these things unravel.
That's what, man, I miss that
on
about
the spool.
Even the Midwest, but especially and more than ever when I'd go to visit my dad, just that pace that we all just everything.
Now there's a difference, right? There's a difference between someone who can really spin a yarn and they unravel it well, and someone who just can't tell the story. Right? And you're sitting there looking at them, and you're just thinking to yourself, move it along.
When we're gonna get where we're going,
right. And there's a big difference, right? And I think it's maybe the gift of storytelling, right? But there's
why you're friends with comedians,
right?
There's an internal clock that's I gotta do something.
You think that
I'm bombing?
But I'm interested now that you said that.
As soon as I said it, I thought of a comedian that tells a real shit story.
But only because I've become all my closest friends and best friends are the funniest people in the world.
Yeah.
Then I can't tolerate a story when before I might have been able to.
That is interesting. I have to believe that everybody hates that. Long doesn't go
That's
anywhere.
A universal truth, right?
Right?
I think so, yeah. I think everybody hates
Here's the thing I think it is, though. I think it's when we go to a restaurant and we go to some shitty restaurant on the road and we go, man, I hate this food, is different than a billionaire going to that restaurant and hating it because they've also experienced what it's like. I used maybe the worst example because a restaurant's super common, but it's the equivalent of like having never flown private and you're on an airline and you're just complaining about the airline. As a comedian, like conversationally, like we fly private mostly. So then when you get into those stories and someone's just never finding the end of it or never finding a laugh, you're like, this is fucking
I think it's because they don't know how to read the room.
Yeah, I think
Right?
they just don't know when they're bombing.
I've been it pains me to admit this.
It just hurts him.
But there has
What
been
are
a
you
time
doing
in my
to him?
life where I've told a story and I've realized this person's not interested in my story.
Why would you bring that up? That hurts.
Can you
him to
believe that?
That's fucked up, dude.
And I'll wrap it up.
Bail.
Yeah.
I give
I'll
them
bail.
the okay. Here's the cliff notes for the last. Boom, 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 boom. See ya. Good night. I'll never speak to you again.
I text me. I'll get you.
Right,
I'm gonna leave this whole thing.
But like, I think the people who are really bad storytellers, and I'm not thinking of any fewer than 12 people. And when I say this, they don't know how to read people when they're telling them the story. Like they could be staring at a room full of people, just like and they're like they're still thinking, I'm killing it.
I'm killing it.
This happened to me the other day.
Got their eyes rolling back in their heads. I'm crushing.
I had this, and I think it's somewhat common enough that it's maybe happened to you. You're spinning a yarn. You're telling a tale, and it's going well. You know what I mean? You're doing well. It's taken a minute, but it's good. They're enjoying it. Someone walks in right towards the end. They hear the big laughs, and then you're like, and then there, that's what it's like to land a plane.
Yeah.
And then they go, what was that? And I go, oh no, I just, I just told them this. It's a bit long, and they go, I don't mind. And I'm like, all right. So I just re-racked it, and then it's like when you go do a show and you're just looking at the people not laughing. I just keep bouncing back to the two people who had just a second ago listened to it. And now I'm just doing a second show.
It's the people that are like, we had such a good time, we're going to stay for the second show. And you go, oh, don't. Just go home, live your lives. You don't, I mean.
Oh, I thought it was going to be new material.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was going to be the same.
It's the same.
Now,
it's the same jokes.
Would you rather do that? Well, you just described, have to run it back like that immediately.
Would you rather?
Or would you rather have someone walk in right before the juice hits of the story and interrupt the whole thing, and then you have to try to recap and then finish the original story, which just happened to me within the week.
I think I'd like the other one. That one,
I feel like it's ruined.
It's bad. At least in the other version, you had one good run.
Yeah, this one, all the steam is out of the engine.
I got a rhythm. I got groove.
So you tell this whole long story, and then someone interrupts, and you're like, well, anyway, recap. Cliff notes, and and then turns out she was a lizard the whole time, and people are like, it's not that interesting.
Everything is creating and releasing tension, and what you've done is you created a bunch of tension. It's released at the wrong time, then you don't have time to build it back up.
What if I told you
it goes out with a fizzle?
This whole conversation we're having right now,
right,
is about a story that we've been telling.
You know what's fucked up? This is exactly why I had you on this podcast.
I said it when we started that
it's the wrong guy for the gummies.
You never know when you're on a gummy and you're with Ryan. You never know, because I'll tell you, when he said what he just said there, everything stopped for me.
Yeah,
because I was trying to figure out does that not make sense because it doesn't make sense, or does it not make sense because I can't get it,
or does it make perfect sense? You just
I never got there. I interrupted it.
Well, look, guys, I got a couple things I got to rattle off here.
You've changed your posture in this fucking chair.
I can't
it's
get
funnier to me.
What
this
I did
way
is
funnier.
I had a back pillow. I thought, you know what? I think it's the back pillow making me look like a fool. It was not. The back pillow was the only thing keeping this whole thing together.
It looked like if they gave a baby a podcast.
Yeah. I was like, I was in a sailboat, and I was like, what's this sail doing? Let's get rid of that. Now I'm just lost at sea. But I got a couple things to rattle off here. What I got is a couple. Here's what we do. We got these fans. We got a little shout out from the Backyard Gang. A little shout out.
Oh, okay. I love a Backyard Gang.
I got some shout outs from the Backyard Gang. I've got what would you do / an etiquette question. and then I think we wrap it up with an "It's Good." Okay,
All right.
so first and foremost, I want to get into a shout out from the Backyard Gang. Okay,
Before you get into this,
please.
I can't remember if we said why Andy's not here.
Oh, he died.
All right.
He passed away.
There you have it.
It's a personal affront
Yeah.
to my character, to my dignity, to
yeah.
everything I've ever done for him.
I do think it's a HIPAA violation. You saying he's died?
Well, you can say he died.
You know what he did?
What it was.
He called in with a headache.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I believe him.
Yeah.
But you gotta lie.
You
know what I mean?
It can't be
A
headache.
headache?
Yeah, it can't be
I'm
headache.
sorry, buddy.
It's also the most classic. Like, oh, I got a headache.
Yeah,
you know?
I'm not trying to fuck you.
Yeah.
Just come over here and
Yeah,
talk.
it's like, oh, you gave a penny to the Ronald McDonald Foundation because your sandwich was 99 cents.
Yeah.
That's the least. Like,
Mhm.
I agree with you 100%. I'm so upset that I become inarticulate.
Well,
he did, no exaggeration, cancel seconds after we confirmed the time for you to come here, and he did it on a thread that you're not on.
Yeah. So it's. I mean, you flew across the country. You know,
I
haven't seen him in months.
give me if I can have a second to process the
Take
new
all the time you
information.
need, yeah.
It occurs to me that I need to be added to this thread.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
possible,
We'll loop you
in
in.
post.
Just-
Loop me in.
Yeah, put me in any thread. I'll
And,
text everybody.
And I think
Put me
we
on
should.
anything, I don't respond.
Actually, I think we should make it a Zoom call. Get Alan and
I'll loop Alan in.
Loop
Yeah,
Alan
yeah,
in.
Yeah.
And you know how many times I've cared for his dog.
Yep.
For Darwin.
That's true. Yeah, yeah.
I have cared for Darwin. I've cared
her
for
alive.
his
Great.
betrothed.
Uh-huh.
He has you watch
I-
Tori when he's out of town?
Ryan's got to watch Tori. Yeah.
And I've you know what? I mean, and we had a moment in San Diego where I went down, he was doing a show, I went down with
You
him.
two cruised.
We cruised.
You cruised down
And
there.
God, I pooped multiple times in a coffee shop with him there. Well, nothing bonds me more
Yeah.
than an an ill-timed having
Mm-hmm.
to go situation, right?
Mhm.
Like people, like that's when someone really
No
gets-
shame in that. No shame
Well,
in
you know,
that.
you hate to have to do it, but it's a thing where it's like
Yeah.
this has to happen,
Mhm.
and then that you're very vulnerable in those
So
moments.
you think? Can I take a jaunt?
Mhm.
You think? I feel like it's a good theory, and it may be just 5 milligrams of THC coursing through my veins.
Yeah. You
we're-
got to stop doing it that
We're
way.
like a few weeks into knowing each other, and you go, "I got to take an emergency shit." You think that fast forwards our friendship immediately?
I think so.
I kind of like that.
I think it does because we were at the venue also,
Mhm.
and there was some kind of situation happening. I don't know. It was I drank too much really strong coffee.
Mhm.
Obviously, it was clear at the coffee shop.
Yep.
But then
Wait, the shit was clear?
yeah, I went clear. My
was a
shit joined
situation.
Scientology, and but the venue luckily was packed.
Yeah.
But luckily they were all like into whatever was happening in the show side,
Mm.
and because the bathroom was like a pirate ship, so you're like, I don't feel safe, but also this is what happens here.
Yeah.
Did
Does
you
that
do
make
it
sense?
with the eye patch on?
Yeah,
Did you say pirate shit?
pirate ship.
Okay, that makes more sense.
But yeah,
And he puts it gets real
like,
bad. He puts a patch
they have
on
this
and the
rule
pack
where,
like,
like, they
okay,
won't
I gotta
give-
take a pirate shit.
There's a bird on your shoulder.
they won't give you toilet paper unless you hold your tongue and say apple, or
Uh-huh.
it was pirate ship was the other one, right?
Something's happening.
Oh, that's just Final Draft being like, you want to save this? I don't know. That's
This is
ill-timed.
gold.
I
This is
closed
gold.
out of that program, I thought.
But
What
we-
if Final Draft just read it and they were like, "I'm just double checking here."
Are you sure?
I mean, 'cause
you sure?
It takes up a lot of room for what?
We're willing to get rid of this, no questions
Yeah,
asked.
you-
You know what I'm saying? That's fucked up, dude.
All right.
Why
Did
is-
Alex ask
oh,
a question?
Well,
He's
for-
about to do the shout out from the Backyard Gang, which while
Oh.
he's doing this, now that we're talking about Andy's the only one in this podcast that
Oh, that's
reminds
right.
people we have a fantastic Patreon
Mhm.
where you get a bonus episode every week. You get some goodies when you sign up. There's 3 tiers. You can start at 5. You can top out at 20.
Mhm.
Bonus eps, bonus
yeah.
videos.
What's the,
treats and the peaks and the
What's
perks.
the URL? Patreon.com/backyard hang.
Might be the local news still.
That's
you know
great.
what? You
Local
might have
news.
just brought something to my attention that needs to be remedied.
Well, where
but,
can you
Search
get to it?
search the
Not a
Backyard
bit.
Hang.
Is it just
Patreon.
on our socials or you search it on
There
Patreon?
should be a link on our Instagram, but if there's not, by the time you're listening to this, there will be.
Just
I'll tell you
search
this,
the
this is just
backyard
a
hang
commercial
on
for
Patreon.
maybe. But if you're sitting here and you go, I don't need another fucking thing with another thing and another thing, you download. It's as easy as peasy. Getting Patreon. I got a couple that I signed up for that I like, and
I got a couple I signed up for that I like.
Ryan's got one.
Sometimes I get mail.
Ryan, real quick in the middle. I mean, tell people about your podcast.
I got a podcast called Me and Paranormal You. I'm actually, I don't know when this comes out, what the date will be. Tuesday will be very, 23rd? Very close to my 10-year anniversary.
Look at that.
Of over 700 episodes.
Congratulations.
Me interviewing people, me talking by myself oftentimes. And I have a lot of different characters have shown up over the years when I do my solo episodes.
I've heard some of those through the wall.
I struggle to keep these people out. But it's paranormal stuff and esoteric, spiritual, supernatural, esoteric. I said esoteric
get a
already.
Peek inside this Ryan Singer
get in
brain.
there, walk around the mind for a little while.
I mean that. It's great. You know another person, David Huntsberger. Love the way that guy thinks.
Love David Huntsberger.
Hilarious, funny in a way that I'm like, sometimes you'll see somebody do a bit and you're like, fuck, if that had happened to me, you know what I mean? If I had went to Pizza Hut that day. But then some people you watch, I think it's Singer and Huntsberger are two great examples where I'm like, nah, I just don't, that's not something I can do. That's good. That's fun.
Highest compliment this man can
taking the
right
world.
Well, I appreciate
looking at it different.
And one of my New Year's resolutions was to take compliments, and then also ask further questions. So,
oh, that's great.
That is fun.
This is a long one. I can see over your shoulder. You about to read a long?
Well, this is a long one, but also before we get into this, you're talking about how you take a shit in front of somebody and then
nobody said in front of.
Cements.
You
said in front of.
You are fast forwarding this friendship down the road.
You take a shit around somebody.
No, it is just
take near somebody.
No,
and then just fast forward thing.
Get your verbiage right.
Why? Ex-girlfriend. First time we made love.
Wait, how's this tying in?
First time we made love, like minutes later, I was like, "What? Something's wrong. Something is wrong. There's
the devil coming out of you."
And then I went to a bathroom that was attached to the room that we had just made love in.
Oh my gosh!
It was in there long enough that I heard a knock on the door. It was like, "Are you okay?"
Oh.
And I wasn't okay, but we dated for about 2.5 years.
What do you think?
She thought you might be crying.
I agree. It really
what
fast
do you think
forwards
she
things.
thinks? You have sex with a woman, and then you're
the
a
first
woman,
time you guys have sex,
and
right?
the guy just leaves and goes to the bathroom for 20 minutes. Like, what are you thinking?
Nothing
are you
good.
Thinking he faked it?
Nothing
I think
good.
Maybe.
You thinking he faked it? You thinking he's throwing up?
I think faking it.
And I also have questions about your body.
Yeah.
Like, does your body, like, if one thing gets let out, does your body think it's a fire drill for everything else?
Well, let me ask you this: do you not? Am I the only one? Am I the only one?
Like, one thing gets out, and now your snot's coming out your nose.
Well, I think if I'm reflecting on the situation,
as the jizz is leaving. The shit just gives a thumbs up like a paratrooper in the back of a plane.
See you in a minute, Tony.
We're all going. I think that I probably didn't feel great before.
See you on the other side.
But I was like, well, I can't just not let this happen. I mean, this seems like.
Oh yeah, you got.
Like
have you ever had a
cool
follow up that close since?
No, that's a isolated incident. If anything, based on how that relationship went, ultimately, I think it was my body being like, hey.
We need to
get out of here.
Yeah.
Lock yourself in a room.
I remember having a conversation in high school about do you yanking your own crank, and boys will be boys. And one of my friends, I think I may remember this forever, because we're all talking about yanking our cranks and whatever, and then he goes, I don't do it. And it's at the age where, like, maybe we're all like giving him shit. It's like, why are you embarrassed? Everybody does it. Everybody does it. We're talking about yanking our cranks.
We're men.
And he digs in. I don't do it. I don't do it. I look back. I think I believe him, because what he said next, he goes, I don't do it. He goes, you know how when you do it and you're like tired for a week? I just can't do that. And I'm like, how do you do it? What am I doing wrong? He said tired for a week.
Yeah. We got to hike to the top of that mountain.
We can only come at over 9,000 feet altitude.
That's the thing. You can only
Tired
do it
for a week.
Mhm.
I don't know what
And he wasn't a friend that was known for hyperbole.
No,
No.
he said it in
That
a
was-
way like he had been down.
Like earnestly.
It was straight
Yeah.
shooter Steve,
He
if I
was-
remember.
yeah.
Yeah.
It seemed like a guy that was like, it sounds great. I wish I could do it, but it's just that week-long nap you take after.
I ain't as young as I once was, but
It wasn't hyperbole. It was said
Wow.
because there were follow-up questions to that. Believe me, where you go, "What do you mean?"
Uh-huh.
And he's like, I just like can't. I can't get around a basketball practice. I'm sleeping in. And it's like legitimately sleepy, tired, exhausted, tired for
That
a
is
week.
really funny. And I wish I knew why our brain latched on to certain things that we'll never forget.
Yeah.
I have one that's
Like
probably
9/11.
a little too lewd
What?
for this,
Okay.
but
I don't know
it's in the same neighborhood as what you just said. It's
I mean, have we? I don't think we have a lewd limit yet.
okay. Well,
Mhm.
this one has some real adult language because I was working grounds crew at a country club,
You know what's fucked up? This is exactly why I had
and me and another guy who I was kind of friends with were talking about yanking our crank as you do. We were probably freshmen in college or something, home from the summer working.
Yeah.
And this guy, a couple of the older guys there they were rapscallions. And this guy comes up on a golf cart that they'd remove the governor from so he could go like 40 miles an hour.
I didn't even know they had
Yeah,
governors.
they have governors.
Yeah.
And he
That
like
feels
spins
like they
out,
should be busy in Washington.
right? And he hears us, what we're talking about. And this is what he says. This is a direct quote, and I don't condone this language.
Uh-huh.
He goes,
I'm nervous now.
Yeah.
you should
Don't be racist.
and it's not that, but it is not.
Mom?
It is kind of hate language.
Skip
He
ahead.
He says,
Press 15.
he goes, you guys talking about jerking off? And we're like, yeah. And he goes, I can come harder than both of you.
Oh my God.
And I couldn't even, I could barely not. And we're just like, what?
Uh-huh.
And then he drives off.
He's just gone?
Because, well, the gist was, no, then he followed it up with like, you're too young. You don't know what you're doing. That's when he said it.
Uh-huh.
And then he drove off and we were both just kind of stunned. And he was a maniac person, right?
Yeah.
But for 28 years, I've wondered, but what did he mean?
Yeah.
How does he do it better? How does he know how could he just look at me and be like,
Yeah.
I know I'm doing this better than you, right?
I'd love to walk around with that level of confidence where you're
But
like,
it's haunted me for
Mine's
almost
not-
30
mi-
years.
Mine's not. I don't come hard. It's like a stream. It's like a soft serve coming out of a machine.
it's
takes-
two colors.
Takes 4 minutes.
Like a lazy
Okay.
volcano?
It just yeah. Like those 4th of July things.
You got to get that little funnel, pour the baking soda in there. It's a whole thing. Well, it's weird how people remember stuff. Yeah.
I'll never forget that.
Yeah. You should never forget it. Well, you want this shout out from the backyard hang gang?
Yeah, I'm gonna just
The chain
go
gang?
around 38 minutes. Maybe we just beep that one word
Yeah.
at the end of that story, so Ryan doesn't have to feel like
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
out
I
there.
mean, I don't condone.
We
I
don't
don't
have
love
to-
that. I hate that language, but that's what
Yeah.
he's such a
I
maniac.
think that's the kind of thing gets you taken off YouTube
Well,
or
fucks-
put real on YouTube.
Fucks up my clip for the week, but all right. If you want to just get in there,
Yeah, we'll
create a little extra work.
We'll start popping up on my mom's YouTube account. Something blew over. Somebody
Something
jumped
fell
the
out of a
fence.
tree, I think, maybe.
There's lots of weird noises.
Well,
happening here.
this
Man,
shout out
Ryan
from the
brings weird noises.
backyard gang comes courtesy of a fella named Blag Daniels, Ryan. Okay, so just to catch you
It's
up,
not Chad Daniels.
it's not
And it's
Chad
not
Daniels.
Bagger Vance.
And it's not.
No, we
Bagger
haven't
Vance.
confirmed that yet.
Well,
Don't let
that's
Alex
true.
tell
We
you
don't
stories.
know. So, just to loop you in, Ryan, I did a comedy show, stand-up variety, over there in Burbank. Jeff May's Blast from the Past. You might be familiar with that show. Someone tries to slide into Mora's DMs through my DMs after the show. They go, "Hey, I saw you talking to a gal. Was too shy to go up to her. Maybe you could say hello for me." And I had to be like, "Well, I'll pass this along." But can I also tell you as a fun aside? So I tell that story on the podcast last week. And I go, at the top, I'm going to read the messages, but I want to protect this guy's identity. And I go, Nick says this. And then Maura listens to the episode, and she goes, you said his name almost immediately. And I listen to it. So I start off, I go, Nick says this. And then I get to my message, and the first word is his name. And I just go, Dan. So I fucked that up pretty hard. But so the point is that we were sharing stories about people shooting their shot with their gals, or around us or in the house. So Black Daniels writes in with his own. He goes, a few years back, my wife and I and another couple went to a nightclub. The women were on the edge of the dance floor, and me and the other guy were standing talking like 5 feet away. So it was not obvious that my wife and I were together, but it also wasn't unbelievable. So a guy started talking to my wife, who she told him she was married to me. And she pointed to me and the guy. So, sorry, I fucked that. A guy started talking to my wife, who told him she was married, pointed to me, and the guy made eye contact. He walked over and tried to apologize for hitting on her, but with as much politeness as I could muster, I told him that I had no clue who that woman was. He shot several more shots. He shot several more shots despite her what he was sure were false rejections, while I went and hit at the bar and giggled. So that's
what
just
a bit.
fun.
That was
That's
a fun
bit.
That is a fun bit.
That's
I love that.
Just
it feels like you can steal that one.
Just creating a little bit of fun around your life. And I got another shout out from the Backyard Gang based on a previous. This one was a.
Is it an update?
Speaking of clips, this is not an update so much. So Tommy revealed on last week or 2 weeks ago, in the recent past, that until he was 20 years old or into his early 20s, he thought that all pasta was called spaghetti.
I am up to date on this.
You're familiar with that?
I don't want to call it a controversy, but
it's a normal common thing, I think.
Well, what I'm about to read is not someone saying "me too." So we've yet to find someone else walking around with that same bit of knowledge clanging around in their head. But Candy Davis, friend of the pod, Candy Davis, right? Candy Davis writes in. She said, I went out with a guy one time, and when he started to order, he told the waiter he wanted a snackatizer. The waiter said, which one? And he just said, the snackatizer. He thought that was the name of an appetizer.
This guy's living in a Greg Warren bit. His uncle orders the headings. I'll have steak and seafood
and assorted
beverages.
Assorted beverages.
A buddy of mine from back home dropped an actual teacher's name from. He's like, I thought so and so would have told you that.
Oh yeah,
it really made me laugh. Like deep cut.
That was a deep cut from your life. Just a shout out to that guy.
I had someone else that I had a couple people from back home weigh in, which I thought maybe someone would have said, "Me too, buddy." But mostly jokes at my expense.
Yeah. A lot.
I got to tell you, when I first heard, we'll just call it the spaghetti misunderstanding,
the incident,
the spaghetti incident.
It's a great name for our band if we do want to start one after this.
When I first heard it, I thought it was a bit. I mean, I really thought it was a bit, and I could see how it could happen.
Okay.
But the idea,
it's pretty absurd.
I wish it lasted longer.
Like
I wish he did
into my 30s.
I wish
I knew you at least.
I wish I would have. I wish I could have been there to witness it.
Yeah. People were there. I've never had anybody bring it up to me. But I guarantee you knew me. Like it wasn't.
It was deep.
It was deep enough 20s. I mean, because I think
that hurts.
I feel like we probably met. Did we meet in my 20s? Am I crazy? Because
I think we would have met in your 20s.
I think I was at Gobin. I mean, we're starting to get to a point now. I feel like we've been buds for 16-ish years. Yeah, I probably called your 20s. All pasta spaghetti 16 years ago.
That's so funny because I mean, my immediate thought was like, I imagine going to like a diner and being like, "Yeah, what can I get you, hon?" I'll be like, "Oh, I'd like a burger, but with corned beef and the sauerkraut and on the rye bread."
Yeah,
it's just like, "Well, you want a Reuben?" It was, "Yeah, I want the Reuben burger."
The Reuben burger, which I've seen on menus,
like using a specific. Well, it's the Kleenex thing, right? Basically, what we have here is the Kleenex thing.
Yeah, spaghetti's Kleenex. And most people's reaction were just spaghetti penne style means penne.
Yeah,
the people let me slide a bunch.
Clear. I mean, it's clear what you want,
but it's
after some initial confusion.
It's funny to call it everything.
Yeah,
I mean, I will say that like I didn't mention this when I told it because it just occurred to me that like there was a period of time, like a short period of time after, where I thought people to be a little pretentious for using all the like I knew that you're just supposed to call it
Yeah.
the second name, but there was a period of time where I thought it was spaghetti penne.
I love
but
how
we
you
just
double down
don't
on yourself.
Say
in that.
I thought I was right. If you know anything about me,
You
you'll
double down
know
on yourself.
I'm pretty.
I like that.
I say everything with
Yep.
100% certainty. And there was a minute where I thought it was spaghetti penne, but it was just you just say the penne part. Like you just call me Johnagin.
You know,
Don't
it's the
call me
exact
Tommy
same
Johnagin.
thing. What you're describing is how 50% of people in a cult, once the D-Day or the Doomsday doesn't happen, they double down on the cult leader when everyone else is like, they
Was
were
this
wrong
real?
about
I
this is a
believe
true thing.
even harder now, dude.
Yeah, they believe harder because they don't want to admit they were wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's you see that a lot in politics, but
Yeah.
but so like, I love how you double down on yourself.
I appreciate that.
Double
in
down,
this
dude.
particular case, like, okay, yeah, I was wrong, but I should be right.
Everyone
I
is a
should be.
little pretentious.
Everyone
I
for
should
saying
be
I'm
right.
wrong here.
I should.
I
be
should be right, and
Mhm.
and if you don't think that, you're an asshole.
I may go back to it now. Now
Bring
that
it
we're
back,
talking,
I'm
dude.
actually going to
Bring it
start
back.
doing it. I'm going to start doing it.
Yeah.
It's like
Everything
my
that's
dad one time
old-
ordered I'd like a Caesar salad with chicken, and I go, "You mean a chicken Caesar salad?" And the waitress almost threw up. She was laughing so hard when I said that. and my stepmom will not ever let it go. Because I thought everyone knew you order a chicken Caesar salad.
Caesar
You don't
salad,
order a Caesar salad with chicken.
like a chicken Caesar salad.
It's a chicken Caesar salad.
chicken on the side. All right.
right.
But you know, why do we believe the things we believe? I mean, we could get this is a whole nother episode.
And that's
you
a
know what?
Patreon.
We actually have another episode.
We
Jay.
got a new other Patreon.
What do you got on this one? You said you got two more
I
things.
got
You gotta-
two more things here. This one is a bit of a what would you do, a bit of just a general etiquette. Okay, so I'm in a volleyball league now, and yeah, we did win our first game. Thank you for asking.
Did you play?
Yeah, I played, and yeah.
If I said rotate right now, what does it make you feel like?
I get out of the way. I get out of the way. I go, you know what? Someone else has got to jump in.
How'd you play?
Whew, I played okay, given that I've never played competitively and haven't played in literally
You've
10
never
or 11
played-
years.
Even when you played, you weren't competitive.
I mean, I've played like in games of volleyball where I was trying to win the game, but never.
You never
in
had to sign a
formal-
waiver.
Never with school. Never with. I didn't have a uniform or.
Gotcha.
You got a
bus.
uniform now?
No uniforms.
Okay.
But we'd take. Going into the third set, we're tied 1-1, and then this set's to 15. All right, we're down 12-4, and then we come back
Whoa.
and win the whole. I mean, I've never felt more alive. But so we go to a bar to celebrate afterwards over there in Burbank, California.
Fantasia.
Ooh, no, something about a red fox. That
Nah.
mean anything to you? So we go to this bar. It's a dive bar. You would love it. Both of you would love this bar. I'll take you to it. So we're in there, and everyone's getting their drinks. I'm last to order my drink, and I'm getting a Guinness for Miguel. Miguel wants a Guinness.
Yeah.
Loves a Guinness. Okay. So I am standing there, and everyone has ordered, and then other people just start. I've been in line. I've been in the, you know how bars work. I've been there for a
Starting
while.
to come full circle. Opening this podcast was telling long stories.
Well, hold on a second. I'm not gonna here's the thing. I'm not gonna start the story and not let you know about the volleyball. Okay. I gotta let you know about the volleyball. The volleyball I could have cut. If we're looking back, that's the first thing you cut. But I'm not just gonna not tell you about it. We were down 12-4, dude, going into the third set, tied 1-1. It was unbelievable. So I'm standing in line at the bar.
It was
right?
competitive.
It was competitive. Yeah. I paid money to be in this damn league. So I'm getting just skipped. I'm getting skipped. There's a guy at one point a guy talks to me. He's like, well, I mean, what's going on here? And then that guy gets taken care of before I
hate
do.
when that happens.
Yeah. And then so eventually she comes over to me, and it's been a while, and she goes, sorry, what can I get you? I go, can I get a Guinness? And she goes, yep. And then I don't know if you've ordered a Guinness from the tap. It fills up with foam, and then I got to let that die down and then fill it. So it fills up with foam. She kicks it, lets it die down, and then not a bit. I wait for another 5 to 10 minutes. The Guinness is just, I could grab it, but it's half full.
Or empty.
And then finally, Maura comes up. She goes, what's going on? I go, I'm just waiting. And another guy waiting sees that interaction. So then the waitress or the bartender comes back over. She goes to take that guy's order. And he goes, he was waiting. This is my angel here.
Yeah.
And she goes, oh, so sorry. Fills up my Guinness, gives it to me. I go to hand her a $20 bill. She goes, sorry, it's on the house. And I go, thank you. That's very nice. But I only got the $20 bill.
Yeah.
I was gonna tip her with it being broken. So what would you do? My etiquette question is here. I did wait for a while, but she was nice enough to give me my drink for free to make it right. But I do want to tip this person, but I can't. Well, what do you do then?
I leave the whole 20. Similar situations happened to me before, and when I'm like super busy, this person, they're very nice. I'm not giving any money to the establishment, especially if you're at like a chain restaurant. I'm like, yeah, great. I don't have to give this to the corporation. You can have all of it. I think it's a little bonus for being nice, and because I feel like it makes them want to be nice more.
Well, I mean, look,
people in general.
I see what you're saying, and I want to reward her being nice, but it's also built on her ignoring me for almost 15 minutes.
Not ignoring, she's very busy. Were you drinking a Guinness?
Hey,
Well,
I had a little bit of this Guinness.
Let me say this. My answer completely is dependent upon if I'm having a second drink.
Yeah, I didn't have a second drink.
If I'm not having a second drink, I pay it forward, or I say, hey, I hand it to her and say, can you give me a 10 back?
You know what? That would have been the move.
And I do that. But if I'm getting a second drink, I tip on the next drink for both. But but it's also working in a restaurant for over 15 years. Yeah. I'm not going to never.
Alex never worked in a restaurant.
That is untrue. What I did do was I walked outside, I turned the open sign to closed, and then I left the bar. But
did you really?
No.
No. That sounds like something I'd do.
No, but it's a tough spot because part of you feels like, because after 10 minutes you start to feel like, oh, this is personal.
I was annoyed. I was upset.
It starts to feel personal,
yes,
even
yes,
though it's probably not.
I'm being ignored. Yeah.
Or she was just like an empath and knew that you were going to order the longest pouring drink that takes forever.
It's on the tap. Take it off the tap if you don't want people ordering.
I think they should take them off the tap. We can't. I mean, it's bananas.
I once ordered a Guinness in Alaska.
I didn't know you drank the Guinness.
I didn't
know this
either.
You're a cider guy.
I like a Guinness.
Isn't that the opposite of a cider?
More, yeah, but a Guinness is not bad. Not bad. People, it's good. But so People like it.
Oh, okay.
People like it. Dude.
Okay, so you need other people to like the thing that you like for you to like it?
I'm a human being. So I was in Alaska, and this lady after the show, Andy and I go out to a bar. She's like, "Let me buy you guys drinks." And Andy orders his drink, some fruity pumpkin thing, and I go, "I'll get a Guinness." And she goes, "No." And I go,
"Who?
Yeah, I'd like a Guinness." She goes, "Seriously?" And I go, "Yeah, I'd like a Guinness." She goes, "Okay," and then goes and orders me a Guinness. She was like upset that I chose Guinness.
Well, I think maybe because you don't look like a guy that would drink a Guinness.
You don't look like a Guinness guy.
But
I will say
it
that.
didn't feel like that was what it was.
You know who a Guinness guy is? And I'm not trying to blanket statement. Guinness guys.
This feels like it's not going to go great for me.
Guinness guys have the mustache that's like, it's covering your lower lip now, bro.
Yeah.
Like, because the sudsy Guinness.
Little milk mustache, but it's beer.
Yeah. They're like, an unkempt beard is a Guinness guy. Deodorant maybe is a Guinness guy, right?
Somebody looks like they could fight. A lot of times be a Guinness guy.
Yeah, I'm a Guinness guy.
Exactly.
Like, oh, you don't have Guinness?
I'm a Guinness guy.
A Guinness guy is like, oh, you don't have Guinness? How about a domestic draft and dump in a V8? You know what I mean? You know these guys?
I don't know that guy.
You know who a Guinness guy is? Oh, you don't have a V8? Well, do you have clam chowder? Not clam chowder. I said a clam
Boston.
A clam chowder.
Yeah, I think we're just
a clam chowder.
A clam chowder.
Yeah.
Or chowder.
I think Ryan's just mad at a guy from Boston.
Ryan met a weird guy.
Oh, you don't have clam chowder? How about my fucking what are they called? You know.
That's what the guy says. Yeah, I
was going to say child support check, but it didn't. It wouldn't have worked.
All right.
Anyway, all I'm saying is you don't strike me as a Guinness guy. You've never had a Guinness around me.
Guy, dude.
Did you not tip?
What's it called?
Did you not tip at all?
No, I got $1 from somebody, and I gave.
So you didn't tip at all.
Okay,
so I tipped. I gave her $1.
But
$1.
Is it a black and tan?
You get a free beer.
Huh?
Half harp, half Guinness is a black and tan. Isn't that what that's called?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I'm leaking confidence with every second that passes, but
because the harp
sounded
is
right.
Yeah,
right.
But that's a popular.
I love a harp. I call my kid.
You start calling her black and tan.
Get in trouble.
Uh-huh.
What's
Closing her down, shutting her down.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing
you
it
got
up.
It's Good?
Little segment called It's Good. Now, Ryan, I told you about this before the podcast started, so hopefully you had enough time to think of one. Now, here's my It's Good. I'm going to start with It's Great, and that is Love on the Spectrum Australia. Love on the Spectrum Australia is great, but they did an American version that is good. It's not as good as the
I
Australian
see what you're
version,
saying.
but it's good, and they just dropped a new season.
So it's a TV show.
It's a TV show about people with autism trying to find love.
Yeah.
And if you got a bone in your body.
they figured out a way to monetize the awkwardness that comes with autism.
Don't you dare.
There you go.
That's
Let me tell you another. No,
certainly.
but here's I'm at it.
Here's what's great about the Australian show
The accents.
Is the accents. I'm not going to tell you it's not, but part of it is that it's funny, but it is done in a way where you never feel like you're laughing at these people. And the way that it is produced, shot, edited, their want is so pure and earnest, and you just root for them in a way where you're like, they like articulate things with no anxiety attached to it, no like social kind of like, I'm worried about what they'll think I'm gonna like. They just want to be with someone. They want to feel what love is.
I mean, you sold me on this,
and it's beautiful.
I don't watch these kind of shows, but I would give this one a shot.
One of the best. The Australian was one of the best.
I'm not gonna watch it.
Top 10 shows I've ever seen. I really should watch it.
One of the top 10 best shows you've ever seen.
Absolutely, I put Love on the Spectrum Australia.
You got me to watch a glass blowing show.
Everyone brings up this
And
fucking glass.
I don't
show,
know
Ryan.
that I've taken a show wreck from you since.
It's horseshit.
You couldn't have been
No, they don't
further
get it.
off.
What they do is they don't.
This is weird.
Have you watched this glass?
I was having
show?
a conversation with someone 3 hours ago about glass blowing.
Yeah.
The only two times in
I'd
the last
watched that
decade I've talked
conversation.
about glass blowing.
You're out of your mind. It's great. Have you watched Blown Away?
No. I had never even
Don't
heard of
do
it.
this.
It's good.
Don't do this.
It's good.
It's spreading.
It's my new good. Blown Away on Netflix. It's good.
If we're on TV, my It's Good is the season 2 of Reacher.
Jack
Jack himself.
This
Wow.
is crazy. I am not kidding.
This is the best.
This
guy to
is gonna
have
sound like
happen
a bit.
This is why he had you on the podcast.
3 hours ago, with the same person I was talking about glass blowing. I'm not kidding. We were talking about season 2 of Reacher.
Wow.
I am
can I-
not kidding.
Can I tell you? You were with Alex 3 hours ago.
That's
So
true.
was he just prepping you?
I was running a lot of
No,
stuff.
3 hours ago. What time is that?
That
clock?
cost an hour off.
I can't
Watching
read
you
it.
be confused by that was amazing.
That's a barometric pressure thing. That's not even time.
Yeah, it is 7 degrees outside. Okay, so season
so
2 of
someone
Reacher.
talked about season 2 of Jack Reacher.
Oh, of course. I mean, I love Reacher.
It's good. Which is the whole reason we came up with this segment. Everybody's walking around now. They won't recommend a thing unless it's great. But
Mhm.
we on this pod will go, hey, it's good. You should see it.
season 1 of Reacher.
Is good. I think a bomb just went off.
That
so,
was an explosion.
Or
they're
car
blowing
backfired.
the subway.
Let's hope.
This is what typically
What
is.
kind of car is that?
There went
Ryan?
again. That's they're
Thunder.
doing construction
Could've
for
been
those
Thunder.
like subway
Oh,
tunnels and stations.
That's 3 in a row.
Or we could be under attack.
Uh-huh.
Let's not rule that out.
Ryan, I feel like you're the guy I'd come to on something like this. Get on one of those message boards you're on. Let me know what
Those were big ones.
Those were 3 in a row.
Those were big.
But I think Jack Reacher season 1 also good.
You didn't think great.
I think they're pretty far from great, but I'd say watch them. I
Yeah.
think there's some goodness to it.
Now,
Okay,
Ryan,
I like that answer.
What do we got from you?
I mean, I'm over here. I'm not trying to reach, but I'm blown away by the combination of things that happened over here.
I'm trying to.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to a message board for the neighborhood.
Going to the Nextdoor app. Okay,
It's happening so much.
you know what?
That's
That's actually that was a jet
that.
breaking the sound barrier. I bet.
Yeah,
Um,
something's going on.
All right.
I like what you did with this was great. This is good.
Uh-huh.
But changed me on the fly.
Yeah,
Dessert is great. Dessert is great, right?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah,
Key lime pie,
It's
good.
good. Okay.
Key lime tart pies,
Uh huh.
good.
Yeah.
Cherry pie, good. Cherry cobbler, great.
Yeah.
Cherry pie, you know,
Yeah.
I heard that.
Thumbs up.
If
dude.
you're on the Patreon,
You're too
you
high
can
for
watch
this.
some.
Yeah.
Is that what's happening?
We all moved. Being scared,
Uh-huh.
great.
When
No,
you go on these excursions, maybe we'll talk about the next on the Patreon.
Mhm.
Are you ever scared? You get
oh
real
yeah,
scared? Ghost hunting.
Don't tell it. We'll tell it on the Patreon.
All right, we'll do it on the Patreon.
yeah, we'll tell on the
gotta be
Patreon.
scared.
Well, I guess I didn't fuck up. I may just got some people to go to the Patreon.
Yeah.
Well,
talking about
It's called a tease.
Ryan.
not only that,
did you
not
say
only
they're
do you
ghost
get
hunting
scared,
or spirit. What would you call it so we can tease the Patreon
I do.
properly?
Well, this particular instance that I'm thinking about,
Tease.
I do paranormal investigations, and I also do cryptid expeditions, which is like a Bigfoot is a cryptid, Chupacabra, Loch Ness Monster, Mothman. Those are cryptids, creatures that don't belong where they are, or creatures that don't have, the scientific evidence to be considered zoological. So
Things
they're
that are
cryptozoological.
Caught between realms.
Yeah, in a liminal space. The one that the specific one was you heard that though.
Well, we can't tell. We'll tease.
It was a expedition for creature features.
All right.
And also UFOs and things like that. But
I checked out a live stream of you looking for a ghost. I felt like one time. We'll talk about that.
Oh, okay. That was probably not too long ago.
Do you have some tour dates coming up?
I do
you have
not.
Some show, some events.
Well, I am going to be launching a weekly live stream show at some point here, hopefully in the next month and a half or so, called Paranormal Carnival, which my podcast is very paranormal with some comedy. Paranormal Carnival is going to be a comedy show that is based on the paranormal. So it'll be like the Daily Show meets sketch comedy meets paranormal. So I'll have like correspondence, I'll have some news, I'll have things like that. It's basically based on a show I've been trying to sell for 12 years.
Do it.
And I'm just like, I'll just make it.
Love it.
What's that podcast one more time and we'll get out of here?
Me and Paranormal You.
All right. Check it out.
Paranormal You.
Thanks for listening to this podcast.
Soup.
Bye.